A battle for the future of Illinois.
Darren Bailey wants to take us back to the old Bruce Rauner days and frankly bankrupt the state.
When we fired J.B. Pritzker, the days of top-down authoritarian rule will be over.
Crime, abortion rights, education, and the economy. These are the top issues facing Illinoisans statewide. It's time to count your vote. Live from WCIA 3 News, this is your local election headquarters.
It's election night. This is a midterm election. The stakes are high as control of the highest offices in Illinois are on the ballot. Besides that, Democrats are fighting to retain their majority in the U.S. House and Senate, with several Illinois incumbents up for re-election this year. We have team coverage tonight. Reporters in several key locations across central Illinois. WCIA 3's Capitol Bureau Chief Cole Henke is live there in Chicago. Renee Cooper is live in Springfield, as is Theodora Coulivares live in Springfield. First, to the biggest race of the night, the run for governor. J.B. Pritzker, of course, was facing State Senator Darren Bailey. And Governor Pritzker, soon after the polls closed tonight, was declared the winner in this race. The Democrat there, 55% of the vote. We have now 81% of precincts in. Darren Bailey just conceding about 15 minutes ago. Earlier tonight, the governor thanked the crowd in downtown Chicago.
I'm grateful tonight. I'm grateful tonight that Illinois continues a long tradition of peaceful and fair elections.
Governor's race, just one of the big races we're following. Some more statewide results now in the race for state treasurer. 52% of precincts in. Michael Frericks, the incumbent running for a third term, he is ahead in this race. 57% to Tom Demmer, the state representative since 2013. He has 41% of the vote. For Secretary of State, Jesse White is retiring. First time a new person is going to hold this job in nearly 25 years, and that will be the Democrat Alexi Janulius, the former state treasurer. He had run for U.S. Senate before and lost. He beats tonight Dan Brady, the state rep since 2000, the Republican there from Bloomington. For Attorney General, the Democrat Kwame Raoul, the incumbent, trying to win a second term. And right now, with 57% of the vote, we have 52% of precincts in. He is beating right now the attorney Tom DeVore, who has 41% of the vote. The race for state comptroller, the Democratic incumbent Susana Mendoza, she is trying for another term, 53% of the vote, and right now she is ahead of her Republican challenger, Shannon Terezi, the McHenry County Auditor. To the race for U.S. Senate, the incumbent Tammy Duckworth winning a second term. She was first elected back in 2016. She keeps her job, beating Kathy Salvi, the suburban lawyer that is 57% right now to 41%. To the race for U.S. House, the battle for the 13th district. This covers parts of Decatur, Springfield, and Champaign. Regan Deering, the Decatur educator, small business owner, the Republican, and Nikki Budzinski, the Democrat working for Governor Pritzker and in the Biden administration. We're going to take a look at those numbers. We have 57% of the precincts in. It's 52% to 48%. In the 15th district of the U.S. House, we have a Republican incumbent here. Mary Miller is widening her lead tonight. We have 54% of precincts in. She has 72% to Paul Lang, the commodity broker there, the Democrat, with 28% of the vote. All right, the U.S. House District 16, this is newly drawn. Adam Kinzinger not running in this election, but Darren LaHood is. He's the congressman for the 18th district since 2015 that was eliminated in redistricting, and right now he is ahead in this race. Elizabeth Haderline has 35% of the vote. She's a city alderwoman in northern Illinois. A hotly contested race for the Illinois State Senate District 48. Doris Turner facing the Republican Sandy Hamilton. Lots of commercials you've seen in this race, and right now the Republicans still only just 15% of the vote precincts in on this. Sandy Hamilton, though, is ahead, 56% to 44%. In the 96th district, we have Sue Shear, the incumbent for 2 decades. She's behind right now to the nurse practitioner. This is a battle of 2 Decatur women. 27% of the precincts in. Lisa Smith with 56% of the vote. And in the 104th district, this is a rematch from 2018. These two went head-to-head back then. Mike Marin won that time. He's trying to win again. Low vote totals, but Marin is ahead, 67% to 33%. Everyone in Illinois voted in this question. The constitutional amendment, also called the Workers' Rights Amendment. A yes vote means workers have the guaranteed right to organize and bargain collectively. Opponents say it'll raise property taxes and drive business away. The yes votes right now are leading 61% to 39%. Back to our top story, J.B. Pritzker winning another term as governor. The governor gave his victory speech, and now his election night party is wrapping up in Chicago. That's where we find our Capitol Bureau Chief, Cole Henke, live there. Cole.
Well, Governor Pritzker told his supporters tonight that they made history, but when he wasn't congratulating the people in the room, he was attacking the Republican Party, especially the most conservative members of the party, and specifically members that support former President Donald Trump, including his opponent, Republican Senator Darren Bailey. Now, he called them all, quote, cowardly. And largely, the governor focused on national politics surrounding the former President Donald Trump and focused on the growing political divisiveness on the political scene.
Tonight, you made history. 4 years ago, I told you that we would think big, that we'd write a new playbook, that we would put government back on the side of working families, that we would be bold, and we didn't waste any time.
Now, Governor Pritzker also spent a lot of his speech pointing to the accomplishments over the past 4 years that his administration has had, including raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, passing a bipartisan infrastructure deal, one of the biggest in the state's history, legalizing recreational marijuana, and improving the state's fiscal situation. And also, he alluded to the SAFETY Act, the controversial criminal justice law that it will be hotly contested over the next couple of months before it goes into effect on January 1st. He promised 4 more years of the same kind of policy making that we saw through his first 4 years in office. And it'll be a quick turnaround when it comes to the SAFETY Act, especially. Veto session starts next week. Lawmakers will return to Springfield, and there promises to be plenty of debate around the bill that will eliminate cash bail starting January 1st. Reporting in Chicago, I'm Cole Henke.
All right, Cole, thank you so much. As for Republican Darren Bailey, his campaign is in Springfield, and that's where we find Renee Cooper there live. He conceded tonight. Renee, what is the campaign saying?
Good evening, Jennifer. Yeah, there was a room full of supporters tonight, and some of them did begin to trickle out a little bit before Bailey ultimately conceded tonight, 2 hours and 45 minutes after the race was called by the Associated Press. But the vast majority of the crowd hung around, and they cheered loud as he and Stephanie Trussell took the stage. He leaned on his faith tonight, as he has throughout the campaign, thanking God and then thanking his wife and family first.
It didn't turn out the way we wanted, but thanks to God, we still have so many blessings. Friends, the greatest blessing the past 2 years has been hearing your voices, your struggles, the worries that keep us up at night, listening to you.
Now, Bailey called Governor Pritzker to concede before he did enter the room here tonight, but it's unclear what's next for the state senator from Xenia. Obviously, he's will be stepping down from that role as well. But I can tell you, in his final few words, he said, quote, "I may not be going to Springfield as your next governor, but I'll never stop fighting for you." Live in Springfield from the Clown Plaza, Renee Cooper, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Renee, thank you. With me now, State Senator Scott Bennett and Chapin Rose, both winning tonight. They ran unopposed. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, we want to talk about the governor's race. You're going to give us a deeper look. Senator Bennett, any surprises?
Well, not really. I think the polls early on suggested that that Pritzker would win by double digits at least. They have been tightening up as we've gotten closer to the election day. But the fact is, Bailey has been off the air effectively since about June. And so you have basically a one-person fight for a statewide race. So you have a lot of downstate support for Bailey, of course, but the suburbs and the city of Chicago have been pretty much, have had free reign for Governor Pritzker during that time. Not a surprise, the majority of the voters live in those areas, and now we're seeing the results of that.
Senator Rose, I know these are not the results, at least in the governor's race, that you were hoping for.
No, but what's interesting is they are tightening, and as much as it looks like Governor Pritzker will be reelected, the fact is that what does it do to all the down-ballot races? And when you look at, for example, Senator Turner, Decatur to Springfield, we're winning that race. When you look at Budzinski versus Deering, that's now tightening and is down to 4 points or less. So again, as these rural precincts start coming in, you're seeing this tightening. And so, in the state Senate, I think we're going to win a couple races. I think in the state House, we're going to win a couple races. I think in Congress, you're certainly seeing it starting to tighten up. So the fact that Governor Pritzker isn't going to win by as much as he thought he was is going to help us win other races in the state Senate, state House, and of course in the U.S. Congress.
All right, we're going to talk more about those, so you guys don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tammy Duckworth looking for another term as Illinois' junior senator, and she wins this one. She wins another term here. She's been the senator since 2016. She gets another 6 years. She beat Republican Kathy Salvi, 57% right now. The vote totals are 241%. As for the balance of power in the Senate, starting the night, Democrats controlled the 50-50 chamber by virtue of Vice President Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote. And right now, these are the numbers as they stand, still waiting for vote totals to come in. The Democrats have 43 seats, the GOP 41. To the U.S. House, huge race in the 13th district that runs from the Indiana border all the way down, snakes down to St. Louis. Regan Deering, the Decatur educator and small business owner, the Republican, Senator Rose was just talking about this getting closer. Nikki Budzinski now working in the Pritzker and Biden administration at one time, 52% to Deering's 48%, one of the ones we're watching closely. Joining us live from Springfield, WCI3's Theodora Coulivar. She is with the Budzinski campaign, and they are watching those votes very closely as well, Theodora.
Yeah, that's right, Jennifer. Right now, this race is just too close to call. And as you can see on the screen behind me, supporters have been watching the results just pouring in throughout the night. We still haven't heard from Budzinski tonight, but she does seem to be in pretty good spirits. She's continuing to lead. She's continuing to lead over Deering, but that lead has definitely shrunk. Whoever wins this race could determine who controls the U.S. House of Representatives. Republicans need a net gain of 5 seats to regain the majority, and they think this seat could be one of them. Both Budzinski and Deering have stressed how important who controls the House will be on issues like abortion rights and when it comes to benefits for Social Security and Medicare. We will continue to keep you updated throughout the night, but for right now, this race is just too close to call. Jennifer?
All right, Theodora, thank you so much. In the race for the 15th district of the U.S. House that runs from Champaign South and West, the Republican incumbent Mary Miller still ahead here, running for a second term. 56% of precincts in. She is way ahead of her Democratic challenger, Paul Lang. To the 16th district of the U.S. House, this is north of central Illinois. Darren LaHood, the congressman for the 18th since 2015, that was eliminated in redistricting. He is right now ahead, 66% to Elizabeth Haderline's 34%, the city alderwoman in northern Illinois. The outcome of these races could tip the balance of power in the House. Going into the election, it was 220 Democrats, 212 Republicans. Now we're going to see, based on tonight's results so far, the Democrats are trailing the GOP 180 to 198. To the Illinois Senate, the 48th district, one of the most expensive races the state had this election. The Democratic incumbent Doris Turner, appointed last year, the former Springfield alderwoman, is behind in this race. Sandy Hamilton, the state rep in the 99th district, is ahead 56% to 44%. In the 46th district, incumbent Democrat Dave Kohler, and these are the first numbers we are seeing tonight. 30% of precincts in, we have Dave Kohler with 64%. To Desi Anderson, former Rodney Davis intern, has 36% of the vote. In the 96th district, Sue Shear, the incumbent Democrat, still behind here. Lisa Smith, the nurse practitioner from Decatur, 56% of the vote. In the 104th district of the Illinois House, Mike Marin, the Republican incumbent, ahead in this one, 3%. We're still waiting for votes in this district. 104, let's go. Mike Marin, 67% to Cynthia Cunningham's 33%. All right. Senators Bennett and Rose, I know you guys are looking at these numbers and what it is going to mean for the balance of power. Chapin, let's start with you.
Yeah, again, you're starting to see it. Representative Scheer, longtime Democrat, looks like she might be in trouble. They've got some more precincts reporting there. Senator Turner, Democrat, looks like she's in trouble. Again, more precincts reporting there. So, again, I think the fact that Governor Pritzker is going to win by what he thought he was going to win by, you're starting to see these rural precincts starting to come in and make an impact. Also watching the, United States House of Representatives and some of those, it's starting to look more Republican nationally. I
am seeing a little reaction from you as I'm reading those results over. I can see, woo, a little excited. Any worries from you, Senator Bennett?
I'm less excited about it, Jennifer, and it always drives me nuts when Senator Rose is proven right. But it is clear that as some of the rural votes come in, it is getting tighter, and also I think it shows the strange strategy of Bailey kind of abandoning the northern third of the state. Is helping the downstate Republican candidates.
Would you say that if he ran his campaign differently, the results would have been different?
If I ran his campaign differently?
If someone did, I don't know.
It would have been different for sure.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this, though. I think in a lot of the northern precincts, you're going to see Republicans pick up some seats as well. The numbers we've seen out of the south suburbs, the western suburbs, DePage, areas that 20 years ago was pretty Republican turf, I think we're going to see a few pickups there in the state Senate, state House as well. And again, that's mainly because, Pritzker's not going to do as well. He started off the night very high. He's down to 55, which is still a lot for him. But what's the impact of the down ballot races? So it's going to be a long night. And as we talked about, it's going to be another couple weeks before we really know what's happened, unfortunately.
All right. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. We have even more results at our ticker at the bottom of your screen and at WCIA.com. Those are going to be updated all night long. But we're not done. We hope you're not either. We're going to take a closer look at the big races in Champaign County, including the man in charge of tonight's election there. Plus, alcohol sales are on the ballot in 2 communities. Will they stay dry towns?
Live from your local news leader, Jennifer Roscoe, Jessica Coons, and Kevin Lighty. This is a special edition of WCIA 3 News at 10, your local election headquarters.
And welcome back to our election night coverage. A big vote in the Mahomet area tonight. People asking to weigh in on a second referendum. This one asking for close to $60 million. It would pay for a new junior high. Now, as for the vote, there are no results. And this is unusual to not have any vote totals from Mahomet at this time of night. And we're going to explain why. Joining us live from Mahomet, WCIA 3's Scarlett O'Hara. Scarlett, why there in Mahomet are they not seeing any totals?
Well, across Champaign County, voters were able to vote at any polling location, and so that is causing this little delay in getting results back. And it's not the first time Superintendent Dr. Kenny Lee here at Mahomet Seymour has been waiting for results on this referendum. Back in June, the district asked for $98 million for a new junior high building, but that referendum failed 2-1. He says those results came in very late, and that could happen again tonight, but he's excited to see what happens. The new question on the ballot is, will Mahomet taxpayers help fund a $59 million school? The district scaled down its plans to include only what they need most, which is more space. Enrollment is 278 students over capacity and growing, and they say this 60-year-old facility is too outdated to keep up. Dr. Lee says they've been working hard to keep voters informed, even giving tours of the campus they're hoping to replace. But he'll respect any decision that's made tonight and eventually come up with a new plan to solve the issue. Now, as we said, we're still waiting for the results on this referendum and some key Champaign County races, and they may take a little longer, but we'll keep you updated with information as we get it. Reporting live in Mahomet, Scarlett O'Hara, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Scarlett, thank you. We're not ignoring the other Champaign County races. We're just waiting for numbers. Another school vote in the Crescent Iroquois School District. They're voting to close the junior high school because of a teacher shortage, and that is going to happen. The yes votes winning this. Students will now choose to go to Wcia, Sister Park, or Iroquois West. A couple other law enforcement votes now. In Edgar County, the vote for sheriff, and we have a declared winner here. Jeff Wood, the incumbent, just won his third term. He beats Kansas police officer Doug Cochran 54% to 46%. 54% to 46%. To Christian County, the race for sheriff, Bruce Kettlecamp, the incumbent, 11 years as sheriff, and he wins some more. He wins this race 73% to 27% over DJ Mathen. Some fire protection district questions. Hickory Point wanting to raise taxes to pay for 24-hour ambulance service in Forsyth. That's happening. So now, if you own a $300,000 home, you're going to pay $200 more a year. In Wcia, another tax for ambulance service will help it keep going through the fire department, and this yes vote passes 64% to 36%. Another tax increase vote. This is Buckley. This is for ambulance service. This passes 65%. They're going to pay more in taxes for this. No votes, 35%. Also in Buckley, another tax question. This is for emergency equipment. This also passes 65% to 35%. A couple treasurer positions on the ballot today. One of those in Moultrie County, the incumbent Republican Stephanie Helmuth, and she wins re-election 71% over the chief deputy county clerk Pam Wachowski. In Sangamon County for treasurer, Daniel Pittman, the Democrat, loses here to Joe Aiello, the former Sangamon County clerk. The incumbent wins this 65% to 35%. To Christian County, the clerk and recorder position. Jody Badman, she wins here and defeats incumbent Jackie Wilson. She has held those positions since 2021. Jody Badman, the Republican, with 67% of the vote. Also in Christian County for state's attorney, we have an incumbent losing here as well. John McWard, the Republican, the Taylorville lawyer, wins this race 58% to 42% of the vote. Now, in the Vermilion County town of Indianola, can alcohol be sold? And they are saying yes. 47, this is when your vote counts, huh? 47 votes to 20 votes. You get to buy alcohol there in Indianola. And another alcohol question, this is in South Wheatland Township. In Macon County, should there be a ban on alcohol sales? Nope, they want to buy alcohol there as well. 76% saying no to that ban. Now we're going to take a look at the Illinois Supreme Court. We don't always share these numbers, but tonight it's important. The second district, this is in northern Illinois. We're watching these numbers closely because it can shift the power in the Supreme Court right now. Mike Curran, the former Lake County Sheriff, Mike Curran with 47% of the vote, trailing Elizabeth Roqueford, the Democrat, 53%. In the third district, the Republican incumbent Michael Burke is behind, and we have 67% of the vote here. Mary O'Brien, the appellate justice, is in the lead. All right, back to our senators. Now, I was talking about that power right now. Democrats hold a 4-3 majority, but if the GOP wins, that's going to perhaps switch. It would flip to 4-3. Any reaction to these numbers that you're seeing?
Well, that would be generation shift, and we have not, it's been 50 years since the Republicans controlled the Illinois Supreme Court, and so that would be obviously a huge shift. And there, if you look at, there's some timely issues that would come along with that. For one, we spent a lot of time talking about the Safety Act. A couple dozen states' attorneys have filed a lawsuit, which have been kind of moved into one lawsuit. That will probably end up in the Supreme Court. So that would end up most likely with whatever court is elected tonight. That would ultimately be decided by that court. So that's one just kind of timely issue that would come up that would be dependent on the makeup of that court.
Senator Rose.
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, I would note that the court was just redistricted to make those two races more Democrat-leaning areas, okay? And that was the first time in decades that a court had been redistricted, and I would point out it was done for partisan purposes to make sure the Democrats had a better shot at both seats. But despite that, the one is very, very close. It looks like maybe 2 points or less, and there was only 67% of the precincts. The other one was not as close, but still under half reporting. The problem here is we don't know what is out, right? Mm-hmm. So again, all things being the same, your urban areas tend to come back first, and your rural areas come in later. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see what happens with those two races as we go forward.
Really watching all of the races on the ballot from top all the way down tonight. All right, thank you so much. Okay, hey, we finally have some numbers from Champaign County. We've got those Mahomet numbers, and we have this going down. This is the second time that they asked voters to raise taxes in the Mahomet Seymour School District. This was going to be for a new junior high. This has been voted down tonight, 62% to 38%. That was a $60 million referendum. Okay, Champaign County Sheriff, let's take a look at this. Dustin Harmon, the incumbent, wins re-election tonight with 58% of the vote. John Brown, the deputy police chief in Tolono, losing tonight with 42% of the vote. Okay, county executive in Champaign County, Darlene Kleppel, not running. And we have a winner here, Steve Summers, the Democrat, 59% of the vote. Ted Meyer, the Sadorus Village president, losing his race tonight with 41%. Okay, to county clerk, we have another declared race here. We have all the votes in, and Aaron Ammons has won re-election. The Democrat, 57% of the vote. Terrence Stuber, the Tolono Village board member, coming up short tonight with 43%. In the race for circuit court judge in the 6th Judicial Circuit, we have a winner here, Chad Beckett, the Democrat, 52%. He has beaten the incumbent, Sam Limentato, who was appointed in 2020. Limentato with 48% of the vote. Our election coverage will continue. If you're looking for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, we're going to join that in progress when our coverage is complete.
Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Kevin Lighty.
There is the state capitol tonight. You may see the camera kind of bouncing around a little bit. A little breeze out there. We're expecting more winds over the next couple of days, but we are also expecting some really nice weather. All right, we've got clear skies tonight. A couple of clouds are out there that actually made for a really nice sunset if you were out there, which again, the sunset is now at 4:43 in the afternoon, which is just wild. You know, every year it kind of gets you when that daylight saving kind of sneaks up. All right, let's look at temperatures. It's 47 in Danville right now. You've got still some low and mid 50s from Jacksonville out to Springfield. Now, tonight, our temperatures are just kind of bounce around a bit here, eventually down into the mid 40s for an overnight low. But take a look at this as we feature our Water Tower exclusive segment we do to feature small towns, cities, villages out there, including Humboldt. How about 71 for a high for you guys? We go up to Fisher and a high of 70 degrees up there, a nice sunny and mild day. It is hard to believe it is going to be the day after elections here in November, and you've got 69 for a high in the Fairmount area, so really mild. But as I mentioned, those winds start to pick up a little bit more the next couple of days. That's also what's going to help to boost the temperatures back up a little bit more. But you've got some 30, 35 mile per hour wind gusts that are going to be around, so just kind of keep that in mind as well. The major story becomes this. Very powerful cold front. It's got a lot of cold air behind it. It's coming in here for the end of the week. And this front is going to bring with it a small chance of precipitation. But more than anything, it is going to bring with it a blast of cold air right into parts of Illinois. And actually, much of the Midwest will see this. We're going to go from highs of 70 and 73 the next 2 days to highs eventually down into the 30s for the weekend. Now, as I mentioned, as that cold front comes through, I mean, there's a small chance that a few little showers could pop up along the front. But notice on this future track model, and this is 4 o'clock in the morning on Friday, a lot of that green starts to dissipate. And I don't expect a whole lot of rain from this. And the best chance maybe here west of Springfield and along I-55. I don't think a lot of it makes it towards places like Champaign or Effingham as that front kind of weakens a little bit. But as I mentioned, the big thing it's got, the big drop in the temperature. So we go from these 70s where you're potentially out in some shorts. Yeah, you know, you don't have to have maybe even the heat or the air on to, you got the heat cranking, because by this weekend, we're talking 20s out there. Look at the specific weekend forecast. Saturday 36 and Sunday 37 with overnight lows into the low 20s. Yeah, it is about to take a dive to the south there with those temperatures. That is for sure. Okay, tonight, 44 degrees. We've got partly cloudy skies, southeast wind 10 to 20 miles per hour. 70 tomorrow for a high temperature. Get out and enjoy it. It is going to be a nice day, and then things change, as I keep mentioning. Don't forget also, Veterans Day coming up on Friday. It's going to be that transition day where we go from things feeling great, 12 hours before, the temperatures drop. That weekend, it just doesn't seem right, because we've had so many nice weekends as of late that doesn't look great. Temperatures down to the low 20s for overnight lows as well. So that is something. I can tell you this, something that probably Republicans and Democrats can agree on. 70 degrees is pretty good, for, temperatures in November, right?
I don't know. Somebody always has to complain about something, so I won't even give it.
We can't even do that, can we? There we go. Well, I'll tell you what, we like it.
We like it.
That's
what's important. All right, Kevin, thank you. Does your daily commute go through Champaign? What street you need to avoid? Plus, changes are coming to several Central Illinois restaurants. Which ones are under new ownership? More homeless shelters are coming to the Champaign area. See You at Home is selling its East Washington shelter to the city of Champaign Township. The new shelter, named Strides, will operate as a low-barrier, year-round shelter. A home at an undisclosed location will operate as See You at Home's mid-barrier shelter. It will serve as a more private living location to help those who are ready for the next step of independence. See You at Home's new non-communal shelter will be open to 16 men and 8 women. Strides will start its operations December 12th. The city of Champaign has seen a massive shift in restaurant ownership. CRS Hospitality announced the purchase of 15 businesses from Naoto Enterprises, a number of which are downtown. It's the same company that bought the Ribeye. Guido's Bar and Grill, Cowboy Monkey, and Seven Saints are just a few included in the sale. The announcement comes as he celebrates 25 years in the restaurant business. Traffic flow in Champaign will be limited later this week to allow for sewer work. Lanes will be closed on Bradley Avenue during the workday on Wednesday and Thursday to accommodate the work. Those closures, located between Madison and McKinley, will last a short amount of time and will affect only one lane at any given time. People driving through the area are asked to pay close attention to traffic control drives and drive with caution through the work zone. Coming up, we're going to recap tonight's biggest races. That includes school district looking for millions to build a new school. What did voters have to say? All right, let's look at some of the top races one more time. The race for governor. J.B. Pritzker facing Senator Darren Bailey tonight. We know the results of this one. J.B. Pritzker winning a second term, 55% of the vote. We now have 87% of precincts in. Senator Bailey with 43%. In the battle for the 13th district, this is one we don't have a result yet, and this is going to be close. 81% of precincts in. Nikki Budzinski, 52% to Regan Deering's 48%. Okay, statewide, the race for the 48th district. Okay, this now has switched the lead here, but again, look at that, just 21% of precincts in. Turner has now taken the lead, 53%, to State Representative Sandy Hamilton's 47%. And we do have a note to pass along about those results in Champaign County. The county clerk, Aaron Ammon, says they are not done counting the votes yet. Ammon says the numbers we reported are only early voting numbers. They are still counting vote by mail and ballots registered in precincts today. So we are still waiting to bring you those numbers. So we had checks, forget those. We're still watching those numbers, and we'll bring you those results as they come in. That wraps up our election coverage right now, but we have even more results in our ticker at the bottom, and of course, the bottom of our screen, and of course, at WCIA.com.